By the end of this video, if you follow everything I do, you'll be able to AFK an insane amount of dinosaur eggs, ancient seed packs, and shop items so that you can hopefully get yourself the T-Rex or the fossilite before this event is over. Now in this video, I'll also be giving away a couple of these 1 trillion value honeysuckles. If you want a chance to win one of these honeysuckles, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment your Roblox username along with the special keyword found somewhere in this video. And then don't forget, in your Roblox privacy settings, make sure you have your visibility set to everyone, or just somehow allow me to join you or add me to your private server, just because when I go ahead and roll the winners in a couple of days, I will have to physically join you and gift you the honeysuckle. If you're not in a game or joinable, then I will have to re-roll. As always, my videos are bookmarked. I'm going to be a little more concise this video just because a lot of it's going to be redundant if you've seen my last macro videos, but if you are having trouble, go check out any of my last macro videos to help you, especially with the other shop. I'm going to start by going over the general prep for all these shops, and then I'll go over the prep for specifically the dinosaur event. Now, I've been trying to work on a mobile macro for Grow a Garden, and I think I'm getting pretty close. I found a really useful application called GC Auto Clicker. It seems to work pretty well, but mobile Roblox is just so inconsistent and the movements are just much harder to control. So when or if I finally find a way to consistently macro on mobile, you can expect a video on that soon. If you are trying to experiment and create a macro yourself, I would recommend getting GC Auto Clicker using the record macro function and trying to make a macro yourself. That's probably going to be the only way you can possibly get a macro to work on mobile. Okay, so let's go over the general prep that you need to AFK all these shops and the scientists. First off, the most important thing is your garden position. I would definitely recommend you are in a middle garden. There's 2 ways you can do this: randomly join servers until you get a middle garden, or create a private server, have 2 friends join, and then the 3rd person that joins will always have the middle position here. This is just going to be extremely important to keep the macro on track and make sure it pretty much always goes to the same spot every time. However, if you are in a public server, keep in mind if someone joins with a really massive plant, the collect notification can definitely mess up the macro. So I would recommend you go into a private server by yourself, or at the very least in a server with very little ginormous plant. And in my opinion, the easiest way is to just have 2 alt accounts join your private server and then join on your main account, and you'll get the middle garden position. Now, if you're going to be doing the gear shop, you also need to make sure you have a couple of recall wrenches, and then once you have them in your inventory, make sure they are in the slot 0. Go to your Roblox settings, make sure you have UI navigation turned on. This is going to be useful to keep the shops in the same spot every single time. And then make sure you know your backslash key is, so you can actually toggle and untoggle UI navigation. Backslash is different than the normal slash key. And then also to record the macro, we're going to be using TinyTask. This will be linked in the description. If you're concerned about the safety of TinyTask, in my opinion, it is pretty safe. I've used this for years, no issues, but I talked about the safety of TinyTask a little bit more in my last video, so go check that out if you are really curious about why TinyTask really is not that scary to use. Once you have TinyTask downloaded, go ahead and have continuous playback turned on, and then make sure you know your recording and playback hotkeys are. And then now let's go over the prep that is specific for the dinosaur event. Now, obviously, to actually get rewards from this, you're gonna have to trade pets as you're AFKing. That means that you definitely need a good supply of pets in your inventory. Now, the pets that you don't want to donate, you can literally just favorite, and every time it selects it and tries to give it, it will not be able to because they're favorited. So go ahead and favorite any rare pets that you do not want to donate, and then make sure you have at least 10 to 20 non-dinosaur pets in your inventory because you cannot donate dinosaur pets. Obviously, every pet you have equals 1 hour of being able to AFK the machine. So just keep track of how many pets you have, and then make sure you come back before you run out of pets to fill up even more on pets. And you might be wondering, how can you easily fill up on pets? The easiest way is to use a ton of common eggs. These only take 10 minutes to grow, and donating these are still pretty good. So use those, or you can also plant some other eggs while you're AFKing, like some legendary eggs, some mythic eggs, etc. Just make sure you come back and claim them and replant them every once in a while so that you don't run out of pets. But preferably, if you really want fast and easy pets, just use some common eggs, and then maybe even some bald eagles and kiwis to help speed up the process. Now, since we are going to be getting at least 1 dino egg every hour and probably multiple, that means you can still also AFK the crafting machine and craft an ancient seed pack every single hour, which is really, really nice. Now, it's up to you if you actually want to include this in the macro. In my opinion, the ancient seed packs aren't amazing, but if you do get the 0.5 fossilite, that is actually a really good plant. However, the dinosaur egg also has a lot of value in itself, so it's really your decision. But if you do include this in the macro, it is going to be a little more tough to actually record and include because you really cannot mess up reset the macro once you go ahead and craft the ancient seed pack, because it takes an hour to craft, or you have to skip the timer with Roblox before you can try to record the macro again. However, if you do want to go ahead and include the seed pack in your macro, go ahead and make sure you have at least 2 or 3 dino eggs in your inventory, and then put them in your hotbar beside the recall wrench in slot 9, and that is literally all you need for the crafting part of the macro. Alright, so once all that prep is out of the way, it's time to go ahead and record. So click garden, make sure your camera's kind of straightened out and facing the middle, and then don't have it too zoomed out. Now make sure you follow everything I do in here, because some of the things may seem useless, but they do actually prevent certain menus from possibly messing things up. So grab your TinyTask and use your recording hotkey to start recording, and then we're going to start by going to the seed shop. Obviously, you can skip whatever you don't want to do inside this macro. Once you open the shop, click the UI navigation key twice to make sure you're at the top, and then scroll to the bottom using the scroll bar, not your actual scroll wheel, because scroll wheel does not work. Go ahead and buy whatever you want. And then once you're done, click the UI navigation key twice again, and we're going to do that for every single shop. So now click 0 to pull out your recall wrench, go to the gear shop, open up the gear shop, and do the exact same thing. UI navigation key twice, scroll down, and then buy whatever you want. And then UI navigation key twice again. Go ahead and go to the cosmetics if you want. Buy whatever cosmetics you want, and then go ahead and walk towards the eggs and buy each egg one by one. And then go ahead and open up an egg menu one more time and click the red X here, and walk all the way to the edge, click buy refresh, and then double click your escape button to close out of that menu, and then click garden again. And now it's time for the actual event part. So we're going to start by walking towards the center and just claiming the incubator. Obviously there's nothing here right now, but eventually there will be. So just spam E right here, click garden again, double click your escape key once more, just so that if a Roblox menu does pop up, it closes it. And then we're going to walk towards the scientist here and open up the scientist menu, open up your inventory, exit out of whatever text is in here, and then search age, and that's going to pull up all of the pets that you have. And we're going to go one by one through like 20 or 30 pets and just try to donate them. Obviously your inventory will shift around, so even if a pet is favorited, just try to donate it, because the inventory will shift around. So start with pet 1, click take this pet, and then click E again, grab another pet, take this pet, and you literally just go through all your pets doing this one by one. Alright, once you've gone through like 3 or 4 rows of your pets, exit out of the age search right there, and then close your inventory, click garden, and then click 0 twice just to clear your hand. And at this point, if this is your first time recording the macro, I'd recommend you stop the macro here and then let it run through and make sure everything else works before you possibly go ahead and record the crafting part if you want. But if you really want to just try and get it all in one go, now we're going to go ahead and go to the crafting machine and open up the crafting menu, click UI navigation key twice just to make sure you're at the top, and then click the ancient seed pack here, click craft, and then go ahead and click 9 to pull out your dinosaur egg, click E to submit, click E to start crafting, and then click E one more time to skip. And then we're going to go ahead and click our escape button twice, and then click garden, and then obviously unselect your egg. And then that is the entire macro. You can stop recording here. Sorry to use this macro for around the day. I was recording a time lapse, but the footage got corrupted. But as you can see, the dinosaur eggs I have in my inventory literally are all from AFK'ing, and I did have a lot more, but obviously I am trying to hatch a T-Rex, so I've hatched a ton of those eggs as well. And like I said, I don't personally do the crafting part in the macro, but it works perfectly fine if you want to do a crafting part and get the seed packs as well. The keyword for today's giveaway is Dino, D-I-N-O, with a capital D. So like I said, the crafting part, you only really have one try to record that every single hour. So I'd recommend you do everything else first, stop the recording, test it out, make sure it all works, make sure you know how to record everything else, and then do a full recording with the crafting at the very end. The whole macro in itself should take no longer than 4 minutes, so you'll have plenty of time to get the shop restocks, and that is it. As long as you don't move your camera from the time you finish the recording to the time you're going to start AFKing, all you have to do is click your playback hotkey button. It'll infinitely play back everything you did. So yeah, using this macro, you can automatically craft obviously a max of 1 ancient seed pack every single hour, which is 24 ancient seed packs every single day. And then you'll also stack up a ton of dinosaur eggs, because every single hour you'll also get at least 1 dinosaur egg, but sometimes you get 2 and sometimes you maybe even get 3. So you'll be able to stack up a few extra dinosaur eggs as well. Personally, I prefer just farming up as many eggs as possible, so I don't include the crafting portion in my macro. But using this macro, you're going to be able to farm a ton of event items, a ton of dino eggs, a ton of ancient seed packs, and all the other shop items, which is going to give you the best chance at getting all of the rare limited items before this event is over. With that being said, hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you have any other grow garden video suggestions, drop them in the comments and I might just make a video on whatever you suggest. I hope you all have an amazing day and good luck gardening.